Welcome to Growing Bremerton Together with Mayor Patty Lent. My first guest is Chal Martin, our new Public Works Director, and will be on location at his office at Oyster Bay. My second guest is quite famous. His name is Marvin Williams, a Bremerton graduate, and we're going to learn a little bit about each one of them and the excitement for the city of Bremerton. Stay with me. Welcome to Growing Bremerton Together with Mayor Patty Lent. Today I have a very special guest. It's our new Public Works Director, Chal Martin, and we're on location at his office, and that's down at Oyster Bay, and it's the Public Works Complex. A very busy place, and he's been with us just a couple of months, and we're already elated with the direction he's taken the department. But let's learn a little bit more about him. Chal, you grew up in Midwest. Tell us we're going to start from
You bet.
School.
I was actually born in Vancouver, Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Lived there until I was in kindergarten, and then we moved to the little town of Washougal. And I stayed there and graduated from high school. And then after that, went to the Air Force Academy.
Mm-hmm.
My mom worked long and hard to fill out all the paperwork so that I could go. And so rest her soul, she got me into the Air Force Academy. And after that, I spent 15 years active duty in the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
Got out of the Air Force, worked for about 5 months for International Paper Corporation
Mm-hmm.
at a little mill south of Pendleton in a town called Pilot Rock. Before I took that job, I had interviewed as the assistant director for Benton County Public Works Department, and they called me after I'd begun work for International Paper, and they said, hey, do you want to come to Benton County? So I kind of assessed that I wasn't very good in a manufacturing environment. There's a lot of moving equipment, and so I took the job at Benton County and then later became the director there. And stayed there for several years and then moved on as the Public Works Director in Skagit County, and was the Skagit County Public Works Director for about 8 years, and then moved next door to the city of Burlington. And was at Burlington for about 6 years, and now I'm here at Bremerton, and very glad to be here.
And we share that similar background. I have county background as well as the city. I prefer the city.
And so do I. I'm glad to have the county background that I have, but the city issues to me are more interesting, complex. In the area of engineering, the engineering is certainly more serious for cities because we typically run plants and systems that counties do not operate. So yeah, and and honestly, I've been very impressed since I've been here. I've been the Public Works Director in many places, was able to lead great staffs, but my initial impression here in Bremerton is that this is truly the most knowledgeable and in-depth staff that I've ever had the privilege to lead. And I've just been so impressed since I've been here at the capabilities we have in this department, even though we're getting smaller than we used to be.
Right, we are getting smaller.
And those capabilities, are from our people.
You know, what's interesting is within the city, we've had the ups and downs. So when the mall was built, Kitsap Mall, we had a thriving downtown. It was an old city, and we have people that were still working then and as they're working now. And for someone to stay and work within the city confines and do the things that are necessary for our citizens, and then to have the new look. And the last 10 years have been such a change with what the city looks like now. So having you on board to see we've got a beautiful place to live, we've got the flowers and fountains downtown, but as you talk about our employees, I know that the passion that they have for this city, I think it's getting better. I think that what I like what you're doing and our other directors are doing, and that's working for the city as one combined city force. I know in some of the things we've done, you've reached out to community development. You've also been talking to Parks and Rec. So when needs within the city require more than one department, you're on it. And I believe, if you can tell us a little bit about your impression, you've been meeting outside forces, our EDC, Kitsap Transit, the people that make up other agencies. And I like that. So what gave you that premise that that would be a good thing to start as being the new Public Works Director?
Well, I guess just based on my experience, you get things done through a network of people, and everybody has a little piece of the pie. And it's been my experience, especially in government, cooperation is how you get things done. In this day and age of limited resources, you need to work together, bring all of those resources to the table in order to get things accomplished. I don't have to explain this to you, Mayor Lynn. And it's a great way for me to get to learn the area, because geographically I'm not that familiar with the area. And so if I go visit, say, the Public Works Director in Paulsbo, that's a good way for me to, take a quick look around Paulsbo, talk to him about what's going on there, and drive back. On the way back, I'll come home a different route, and in that way I kind of learn the area. And I like to go out jogging too. I've been really very pleased. I didn't think Bremerton would be that great of a place to go for a jog, but it's a wonderful place. I range throughout the city. After 6 o'clock, the traffic backs off pretty well. I have to wait at some of the signals to cross the busier roads, but that allows me to go here, there, look at stuff, and learn the city better.
And one of your favorites is the Manette Bridge
I
Run.
love that new bridge. It's really a gem, I think, for the community, and I don't know if people understand what a great investment that is, and how expensive that is, and that's really a 100-year investment in the city.
That's right.
And that's wonderful. We've got other projects on the books. I think the city is, especially downtown core area, is very walkable. I like to see that. Of course, we operate utility systems here. They're in good shape here in Bremerton, and that's not a coincidence. We got people working hard, leadership throughout the city, including the council, mayor's office, to make sure that that investment we have in our utilities stays where it is. So I'm very enthusiastic. I know I'm kind of talking in a scattered way here, but I'm just very enthusiastic about being here. I happen to live in the downtown area. It's beautiful. It's breathtaking, the view out over the water. I love it.
One of the things that know that we'll have, I won't say easier time, but as we get into our budget process, coming from a smaller city where you have to have a little more hands-on, you have to know some of the systems, I realize that you'll be able to work with a little leaner staff, which has happened over the course of you being here and prior to you coming. We've kind of readjusted as far as looking at where we could be efficient, and so you're continuing to do that within the department.
And that's a very good observation. When I was with both of my county jobs, the county funding for roads especially is much more robust than for cities. It's a really difficult problem for cities. And especially with Skagit County, we were well funded during the period that I was there. I left Skagit County at the end of 2006. That was sort of the golden era, I think, for our city, for government funding. And then I moved to Burlington right when the downturn started. And that's right. We had to squeeze a few pennies, just like Bremerton is doing. But that experience, I think, does come in valuable for the position here.
Couple of things. I know today I was fortunate enough to be on a tour within our wastewater plant and with our water utilities. It was pretty robust today, from 9 o'clock until about 12 o'clock, and we were right on target to see the pump stations. Even you had some impressions of some of the things that we saw, because they're very technical, a lot of updated technology that we're using. So our staff also has to have that skill set.
And it's a very impressive skill set. When I open one of those big cabinets and there's 480 volts going through it, and the cabinet right next to it is full of electronic devices, and I'm just looking at all those little LED lights flashing, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't really know how to do this. And so it is impressive, and our folks really do have a passion for it. And I think you were seeing that today as well as other days when you're out in just. You can stop by and visit a public works facility anytime, and you can see that passion. I walked through this building this morning. I happened to be in the back room there, and we had 3 of our street and electronics technicians, and they had the whiteboard, and they were making diagrams on how they were, I'm not sure of the work they were doing. I didn't stop to ask them what they were doing, but it looked like they were working on reconfiguring an intersection. They were talking about the signaling and stuff. And I mean, you could just tell that there was passion there. They wanted to do what they were doing the right way.
Right. One of the things that impressed me was when we were down at the wastewater plant, and they give tours. I didn't realize that some of our other departments are welcoming our students from school, from Olympic College, visitors that want to take and see how an operation's done. I think you're encouraging that as well.
Yes, and the staff gets a kick out of that too. They enjoy showing off their facility, and it's a wonderful field trip for kids.
It is. We've got longtime employees that do a great job. Now, as far as the future, how do you see Public Works? I know you're making some changes for trying to consolidate everyone in one place so that, again, efficiencies of scale. What ideas do you have in the time that you've been here? Well, without budget constraints, you know, if there was a perfect world.
Well, we do have our staff a bit scattered out now. We've got 2 facilities on either side of town, and the one facility has about a total of about 25 employees in it, and we've got about 75 in this facility on Oyster Bay. We do need to consolidate. Overall, we've lost, I think our employee count will be down to around 100 in 2013. The authorized strength, I'm not sure what that will be, maybe a couple of positions above that, maybe 102. Well, at the peak of the kind of the economic boom, we were at 136.
Right.
So we've gone from 136 to 100. With that smaller number of employees, I can see inefficiencies just by being a part. It just is more efficient to operate. The information flows better, even though we have all the electronic conveniences that we have. Still, the information flows better. The personal interaction helps communicate better if we're all in one facility. So we're working towards that. We've got to watch our budget to make sure that we do that right. Then, in addition, this facility serves as an emergency facility for the city, and because of that, too, it would be efficient, more efficient to have everybody here. You know, going forward, I told you already I was so impressed with the depth of knowledge and the dedication of our facilities. I mean of our people that we have here in Public Works and Utilities. The best that I've ever seen anywhere. The budget issues are a difficult concern, and it's, you know, that's a big management challenge, but we're no different than any other city.
Not at this time.
Almost throughout the country, certainly in the state. There are very few cities that are not having very difficult budget problems. So we've got to watch that carefully. We've got studies in motion to help us with that. We've got a rate study going on for the utilities.
Great.
We've got a new comprehensive plan going forward for the wastewater system. As we are into the budget process now, Mayor, you haven't seen the preliminary budgets yet, but you will in a couple of weeks.
Yes, I will.
That the departments are submitting. We've been working very closely with the finance department. So, you know, it's a challenge, but it's something that we can work through.
Sure.
And going forward for the department, it's my hope that there'll just be, you know, I wouldn't say that I'm a plodder, but I understand the value of just coming to work every day, working on the issues every day, and moving the issues forward every day, you know, for the benefit of our citizens. I've been very impressed meeting with local community leaders, both those with positions in various organizations as well as just private citizens. And I know that it's not just our people that share a passion for the city. It's a lot of people in the city share a passion for the city. Might I just mention something about the parks?
Yes.
I told you I like to jog around the city. I don't know how our Parks Department does it. It's today we were out by Evergreen Park again. And I was looking at the, you know, we were driving past, might have been thinking about where we were headed, but I was looking at the lawn on the park. It was beautifully mowed. I didn't even see any clover, you know, in the thing.
That's
so
the passion that the employees.
And the parks are very nice.
Right.
Over on the Manette side, there's several pocket parks. They're just just beautiful. Every
That's
one of
great.
them carefully maintained.
Well, I have to tell you that we're pretty happy that you're with us. You mentioned to me this morning that you were pleased to see the things that were going on in the city, to contribute to that, and you've reached out to our citizens. You go to those city council meetings where if traffic calming is a problem, you meet with the individual and you talk about either the restraints or what we can do. So it's good news that you're on board. It's good for the city and it's good for the employees that are working beneath our new Public Works Director. Thank you, Chal, for being with me.
Thank you,
And
Mary.
we've got another guest coming up in the other portion of our program, so stay with us. Welcome to Growing Bremerton Together with Mayor Patty Lent. I have a fantastic guest today. I have Marvin Williams, our own Bremerton High School graduate from 2005. We've got lots to learn about him, and we're going to learn about the Marvin Williams Recreational Center. Good things coming in. So, welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
And you just flew in yesterday.
Yes, ma'am.
So, tell me a little bit about being a kid in Bremerton.
I didn't do much growing up. Anybody that knows me or anybody that's seen me, they would always see me with the basketball. I carried the basketball everywhere, to school, to practice. At one point, I was actually sleeping with the basketball, if you ask my mom. So I didn't do much. I was a fairly good kid, I like to think.
What schools did you go to?
I went to Arminjar
Arminjar.
first. I went to Arminjar, and then I went to Mountain View,
Yes.
and then the junior high, which is not there anymore, for 8th and 9th, and then I went to Bremerton. Yeah.
Well, we're glad to have you as part of our history as
Thank
well.
you.
And then the church played an important part. And I know that this new center that's coming forward is sponsored and lots of things that have to do with Emmanuel Apostolic Church. You call most of the family auntie.
Yeah.
Because one of our councilwomen, Faye, said I've known him since a baby. So a little bit, did you sing in the choir? Did you just play basketball?
No, as a kid, I was in the choir in the church.
Yes.
I was very involved in church. My grandmother made sure we went to church. My mother made sure I went to church. As I got older, I started to travel, and play in tournaments. So obviously, I would miss, sometimes on the weekends. But the church family has supported me since I was a baby. Without them, there is no me. I honestly feel like Emmanuel has been a big blessing to myself and to my family, and they forever will be.
We just had the kickoff for the capital campaign, and that's to raise funds for this center we're talking about today. And I want to say that when you first got up there, the very first thing you said was, this is part of God's plan, and you thanked Him. So I know that all the things you learned growing up stay with you at this age.
I definitely felt like this was an awesome opportunity to kind of give back. What this city has given to me, they've made me extremely proud, and I hope to only make them just half as proud as they've made me. I'm very excited to be from Bremerton. I'm proud to be from Bremerton, and I feel like with the center, this is my one opportunity I have to kind of give back, forever. So I'm trying to take full advantage of it.
That's great. Well, after graduation, then you were drafted. So you are the pro basketball player. The Atlantic Hawks drafted you, and then you played down there. It was hot.
It's very hot.
And I know while you were a player, you also were doing community things as well. And you received 3 awards. Tell us a little bit about the awards that you got from the community.
You know what? I don't do anything, for recognition. That's not really my style. My parents have always taught me to give back. So, I'm in a very blessed situation. So I try to give to less fortunate kids. So I've had an event in Atlanta for 4 years now, Kicks and Flicks, where I take some kids underprivileged kids from orphanages around Atlanta, and I take them out to dinner, and we go watch a movie, and then I buy them shoes for Christmas. So I've always had a lot of fun with that. I've done a lot of things with Special Olympics down there. I've had a ton of fun with that, and then obviously different charitable events, through the Hawks.
Yes.
So I've tried to stay, really involved in the community, and hopefully when I get to Utah, I'll be able to do the same thing.
What's neat is you still came back home.
Of course.
Because you'd come back and do a basketball camp for our own kids. And I know that the center here, they have the Jaguars. And so did they learn some of their tricks from your camps?
I would like to think so. I spent time playing with the Jaguars growing up. Obviously, the great gentlemen in the church were our coaches. So I spent time playing with them growing up. And you know, they're still doing a great job. You know, kids are still in the program, which is always fun to see. It's fun to watch them compete. You know, in track and basketball, whatever they do. So it really is fun to kind of see them.
Well, the event today, you flew in yesterday, we're here today, and we had this capital campaign, and tomorrow you're going to be part of your own first annual classic. You're close enough at home because you're now playing for the Utah Jazz.
Right.
I think you've got a chance to win high marks. The Hawks didn't let you go to those playoffs, but I think the Jazz has got some good stuff going, and they've got you. So you look at some positive things there?
Yeah, obviously in the NBA, you know, trades happen. You know, I do understand it's a business. I loved, you know, my time in Atlanta. I loved playing with my teammates and my coaches, and I love that city, you know, that community. It's always been a good time, but like I said, you know, trades happen in this business, and I understand. So, you know, you leave Atlanta in Atlanta, and you look forward to Utah. And so right now I'm a member of the Utah Jazz, and I'm excited about that.
You're my mentor. I love that. So the golf tournament, and you're not a golfer.
No, I'm not a golfer.
Well, then you're really stepping out of bounds in order for you to take and participate and have the foursomes and, again, raise some money that goes toward this Marvin Williams Recreational Center.
Yeah, I think the golf tournament it's a fun time. I've always enjoyed golfing. I'm not very good at it, but you know, it's 3-4 hours where you get to kind of sit back and just have a good conversation with people. You see a ton of people out there. Some guys are really good. Some guys aren't good at all. I'm one that's not good at all.
If you can play best ball, or
yes.
They say play, so you all four in a foursome get to use the best ball.
Yeah.
I've done that, and I've needed the help from the other three.
Yeah, sometimes it does work like that, but I do enjoy best ball because I'd be the guy holding up the group. So best ball hopefully will work. So I got to find a couple good partners.
That's good. We've got lots of people that are playing, and the funds that they're raising again is going to the Marvin Williams Center. There's going to be a banquet afterwards. I think you're autographing some basketballs to give out, or they're going to auction off?
Yeah, we have a couple of my teammates from college and, you know, from Atlanta. Jamal Crawford, obviously, over in Seattle, another native Washington guy. Mike Bibby, who I played with in Atlanta, has sent some stuff over. Raymond Felton, who will be with the Knicks. Obviously, I played with in college. Sean May, who was with the Kings. Tyler Hansbrough, obviously everybody knows from North Carolina, he plays with the Pacers. Taiwan Lawson from Denver. So a lot of guys have really showed me support in trying to build this community. So it does really reach, you know, a little further outside than just Bremerton. For sure.
Your sphere of influence is much greater than just our city limits. We know that. Let's talk a little bit about the center. I know it's a passion of Bishop Robertson's, and you've seen it as you've come back over these last 7 years. And you've seen the design and the passion that goes behind that. So the entire church family, but our community is behind you. We know there's a need. You're in West Bremerton. We don't have any kind of a facility like this. And so this is more than just coming from the church or the faith family. It's for everyone that lives here and wants to participate in activities at the center. It'll have a basketball court, naturally. And I know that here, where we're on location today, they've got a computer lab. So there's all kinds of things that I know the bishop does, New Life does, to prepare the youth today for what's coming up tomorrow. And I think that's what that center represents.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, absolutely. You know, the center is just an opportunity for kids to kind of have a home away from home, I would say. Growing up, you know, I played a ton of basketball in Seattle for Seattle Rotary Select, and I spent a lot of time at the Boys and Girls Club. So I've always been a big fan of Boys and Girls Clubs. I know kids that used to go up there after school and just be there all day. You know, you have people there to help you with your homework, and you get to play basketball, or you get to kind of hang out and play video games, or, you know, whatever it may be. You know, I just think it's just huge for this community to have, you know, for kids, to have a place for kids to kind of come and just relax a little bit.
Well, it'll be such a safe place. They can walk from school, walk from home. It's got a great location, and it's going to have more than that. I know your name is on the recreational side, but I think there's a senior center or a community center that is going to go hand in hand. And I think, tell us if you recall, what percentage of the funds raised are they at this capital campaign?
I think we heard today that we're at about 70%.
70.
Yeah, which was really exciting. It's a lot further than I thought we were, which is really, really exciting. I was definitely excited about that.
Well, I know you've paid some money into this. You believe in it. You've supported it, not just with your name, but also with contributions. They needed some things as they needed design. You stepped right up, and I know that everybody's aware of your passion and your heart.
Definitely.
So it's exciting for me to have this conversation with you. You notice my chair's a little higher?
It is.
I wanted to have a little face-to-face with you, and it's great. How tall are you?
6'9".
6'9". Well,
6'9".
helps in your game.
It does, definitely. It does. Thank
I
you.
want to thank you for joining us.
Thank
It's
you
been
very
fun.
much.
We'll do it again,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
we'll be at all the next ribbon cuttings and the groundbreaking. We're going to watch you, and we're going to watch you win with the Utah Jazz.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
It's been fun having Marvin with us, and hopefully you'll join us again next time with Growing Bremerton Together and the Mayor, Patty Lent.